welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going to do our final installment in our freezer meal series, and then we're going to move on to other things. Today I wanted to address the idea, which I've been using for years, of dinner ready ground meat. Whether it's beef, pork, a combination therein, or chicken or turkey or elk or venison or bison or whatever you have in your freezer or whatever your family likes to eat. Having some pre-cooked ground meat that has been seasoned and ready to go in your freezer makes for quick meals on nights when you just can't. I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Today we're going to be making our final kind of video in our freezer meal series that we've done for January and February. It's time to move on to spring and Easter and all of those good things. So I thought, like, this is one of my biggest tips. If you're a busy family and you need something at the ready for those nights when it's just been so busy you can't even stand it, freezer or dinner ready ground meat, all ready to go in the freezer, pre-cooked. All you have to do is take it out of the freezer, throw it in a skillet, and you can make marinara sauce with meat, you can make taco filling, you can make chili, you can make ground beef stroganoff, sloppy joes, chili mac, cheeseburger macaroni, anything that you would normally use your ground beef for. So what I have here is a 2-pound package of, this is blend 50-50 ground beef and ground pork, but like I said, this is dinner ready ground meat. You can use ground turkey, you can use all ground pork, all ground beef, you can use ground chicken, ground venison, maybe you're a hunter and you have elk in your freezer, or bison, or whatever it is. This is just a way to have this ready when you need it for those nights when, like I said, sometimes life is just too much. And we get to a point where I didn't take anything out to thaw for dinner, and I guess we're going to run to the fast food place. And we want to avoid that because it's expensive and it's not very healthy if we're doing it a lot. So what I have is, I'm just browning this in my electric skillet. And if you guys look, I know that a skillet on the stove is fabulous and it works just fine. But if you have an electric skillet, this takes no time at all. You crank this all the way up on the highest heat, and then you're going to get a really quick result. And you can come home from the grocery store after you do your weekly shopping, and you can put 2, 3, 4 pounds of ground beef in your skillet, or ground meat of any kind, and you can brown it up. And now we're at this point now. I started it ahead of time because you don't need to see all of this happening. But you see how much water is cooking out of here. So this is water and it's fat, and it's going to cook out. So we want this to sizzle, not simmer. And I say that a lot in my videos because this is one thing my mom always used to get on me about, is that if you're going to brown your ground beef, you need to brown it. You don't want it swimming in its juices. So you want to cook all this liquid off until all that is left is a little bit of fat in the bottom of the pan, and then the meat is going to brown a little bit. It's going to increase its flavor profile. It's going to get all of those good bits on the bottom of the pan, and that's going to help flavor your meat. Now, I am going to season the meat, and this is going to be pretty neutral, I'm going to call it, across the board. So depending on what kind of meat you're using, you're going to want to use that type of bouillon powder. So what I have is a teaspoon each of beef bouillon powder and finely ground black pepper and garlic powder. Now I'm using the bouillon powder in place of salt because it also has some good flavor in there, and it's a concentrated flavor, and it's just going to boost the flavor of your ground beef. If you're using ground beef, it's also going to, you can use this for anything, so it doesn't matter. But it's just going to enhance the flavor. It already smells amazing. And if you use the bouillon powder, you don't have to add salt because the bouillon powder already has a bit of salt in it. And I'm only using a teaspoon, so it's not a ton, and it's just going to enhance that perfectly. Now you can see that because I have this on full crack, this This heat is all the way up on a 5, which is the highest that it goes. And the water has already cooked out of the meat. And now we're just left with a little bit of fat, depending on if you use ground beef, depending on how, you know, if you use an 80-20 or a 93-7, whatever, this blend is an 80-20, and it's perfect for us. It has a lot of flavor, and we use it all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish browning this off, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what happens next. Alright, it's just been a few minutes. I wanted to just get a little bit of color on this ground meat, and as you can see, it's there. And if you can just hear the difference, when there's a lot of water in the pan, it sounds like it's simmering, like water simmering in a pot. When you can hear it sizzle like bacon in your pan, that means all the water has cooked out of it. And that's when you're really going to get that good, deep, rich meat flavor that you're looking for. If you don't do it to this point, you're going to have a little bit of a problem with the meat turning mushy, as well as not as flavorful as it could be. So remember, you want it to be sizzling, not simmering. And then all we're going to do is we're going to pop this in a Ziploc bag, like so. We're going to label it. We're going to put it in our freezer, and it's going to be good to go. Now, I would recommend maybe you put this out on a baking sheet lined with some foil or parchment. Let it cool, then pop it in your portion-sized Ziploc bags. You know, maybe if you're one person, you're going to want to put this maybe a cup and a half. If you're a couple, you're going to maybe want to do 2 or 3 cups. And maybe if you're like me, a family of 4, this would be one meal for us with some leftovers. So I would typically use 2 pounds of meat to make like tacos or chili or spaghetti sauce or something like that on the fly. So tonight I'm not going to be freezing this, but I am going to be making tacos for dinner. So, you know, we're just going to add our taco seasoning, some beans maybe, some chili beans or some black beans to, you know, stretch it and round it out. And then we'll just, you know, everybody can make their own burrito or taco or what have you. So, dinner ready ground meat is a fabulous suggestion, and I have done this for years. It's wonderful to have at the ready, and you can just come home, pop it in a skillet, make something quick, and dinner is served. Because you know what, sometimes you're just too tired and too busy, and the browning process does take a while, you know. Sometimes it can take 20-25 minutes to properly brown ground beef, but I will say, if you guys have an electric skillet, it takes about half that time, because this takes no time at all in a skillet. And like I said, I could easily do 3 times as much ground beef in here as I have, and then just divvy it up into bags and you're good to go. So I hope this gives you a great idea. I hope that you give dinner ready ground meat a try sometime soon, and I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.